Hello, everybody, and welcome to Arsenal X, Boss Rush's Xbox podcast, where we throw up the X.
Throw up the X.
Because we're about to throw down. And I am your host, Jesse Douglas, and alongside me is Stoy. How's it going, Stoy?
It's going, man. I'm tired. I played FIFA for real earlier, just before coming here, and yeah, my dogs were barking.
Yeah, and by the way, thank you for hosting last week. You guys did an excellent podcast. I was actually listening to it while I was on my vacation. So
Oh yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, it was cool because Chris Berensmeyer, he's a big Xbox guy.
yeah,
So when I was asking around, I was like, I think him and I haven't recorded together in a long time because he's on this other podcast that we are good friends with. And yeah, he was really excited. He was like, absolutely, man. Give me any excuse to talk about Xbox. So he's definitely down to join us again in the future. So
yeah, it was a great podcast, and like you guys talked about like big games that were kind of exclusive to Xbox throughout the years, and the only one that was missing that would have been in my personal on my personal list was Condemned. Like Condemned for me is like one of my all-time favorite games from 360.
yeah,
Like like that, like as far as horror games go, like that one even more so, honestly, than the Resident Evil games. There was a lot of jump scare moments when I played that the first time that actually got me, just because you like see people, like a shadow of someone running past the doorway down the hall, and you're just like, oh crap, and you just it was such a great game.
listen, I'm gonna forgive you for your statement just now to say that it's better than Resident Evil. I'm gonna
No,
leave that as your personal opinion, and we're still
no,
after
it's not.
this. We're still
It's
gonna be
not.
friends. It's okay.
No, it's
Okay.
not better. It's
It's
not better
okay.
than
No,
Resident
no,
Evil.
no. I heard what you said. I heard what you said. The words stung a bit.
Resident
But
Evil 4, yes.
listen, listen. Okay. All right. I know you keep doing this, but I'm gonna let it slide. I'm gonna let it slide. We got a podcast to run.
Yeah, so but yeah, you guys put on a great show, and yeah, and Chris was a lot of fun. So definitely I'd love to have him on again sometime with us, because like you guys, another thing too, like you guys were talking about the Connect, and I absolutely loved the Connect on
That was way off from left
360.
field. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was way off from left field because he left that as kind of like a bonus game. Because like
yeah,
we made the doc of like what are some games that we feel should be in the list, and he didn't tell me that he was going to talk about the Connect. And then all of a
yeah,
sudden, the flood of games came out that I used the Connect for, like Alien Isolation uses the Connect if you play it on the Xbox, and
yeah.
I just remember putting in quite a bit of time in Dance Central. So
Yeah, and for me it was Racketeer. It was just a stupid, fun game. It was basically like Angry Birds, but like
mhm.
you were the projectile, and you had to like my favorite were the ones that kind of looked like a scarab. It was like a rock that had wings, and then you had to tilt your arms like an airplane, and kind of fly it to
Yep.
where you needed to go, and like it was so much fun though. It was just such an easy basic game, but it was just so much fun. And I was bummed, like when Connect got kind of disconnected.
Mhm.
Like it just like discontinued, whatever. And yeah, because I was hoping that we would get Racketeers as a backwards compatible game, on the Xbox One, but yeah, we never did. So yeah, but All right, yeah, but it was a great episode, and yeah, we'll definitely have to plan some future stuff with
Oh yeah.
Chris. So
Oh yeah, for sure. So he's
yeah,
he's totally down. But yeah, it was a good fun episode because we referenced this IGN video where we talked about some of the top franchises and top exclusives for the Xbox. So that was a
Mhm.
really cool trip down memory lane, and we both shared our love for Quantum Theory.
Yes,
That was
yes,
that was a severely underrated game.
yeah,
I know it came out and it was kind of it was different game, and
yeah,
I know it kind of like it got good reviews, but it wasn't like, you know, I think it was in development for so long that I think a lot of people forgot about it. So
yeah.
it really got kind of like an unfair shake, but I love the hell out of that game. Loved it.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of the negativity that came from like user review was just like that final boss battle in Quantum Break just really wasn't it, like it could have been better, like, but I personally didn't have a problem with it,
Hmm.
like I mean there was some difficulty to it, and it was kind of hard to figure out where you needed to stand or whatever so you didn't get hit
Yeah, for sure.
at
I remember
certain
that. Yeah.
times. but
And,
but
and this is the interesting thing about this is that I forget where I read the statistic, and I imagine it's probably different now, but when you compare sales to how many people actually beat the game,
yeah,
30% of people actually can fully see a game to full completion.
yeah,
And that is a reason why you see a lot of these games come out that the endings are unsatisfactory, or the end just ends abruptly, to
yeah,
where they don't put in a lot of time and effort and development into making a good solid ending because
yeah,
they know the majority of their player base isn't going to finish the game. So
yeah,
why spend like hours and hours and hours and weeks and months
yeah,
developing this ending that most of your players aren't going to see? And it was kind of baffling. And I'm one of those too. I got a stack of games that I haven't even beaten. You know?
oh yeah, most games I'm definitely in the statistic. I'd be that 100% of the time. Only 30% of the games that I play I finish in my entire life.
100% of the games I beat, 30% of them I beat.
Yeah.
I feel you. I feel you, man. Like it's tough because I want to play everything.
Yeah.
I'm not locked down to, I don't know how you are, but I'm not locked down to one single genre or one
Yep.
single like series of games. Like, one week I'm playing a racing game, next week I'm playing a, RPG, and then the next day after that I'm playing a side scroller shooter. Like I'm
Yeah.
all over the place. You
Yeah.
can't you can't lock me down.
I'm definitely that way much more now since Game Pass is a thing.
Oh yeah.
I've been able to try more things because my budget doesn't allow me to just buy everything that I think looks good,
Hmm.
so like I ultimately there's a handful of games that come out, throughout the year that I will actually purchase outright.
Yeah.
Um, or if
One
there's
game
something
that I'm
on,
glad came out on Game Pass was friggin' Dungeons and Dragons.
oh
Uh,
yeah,
oh man, if I'd have spent $60 in that game, I would have been so mad.
yeah, you and a lot of people. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think done that saved a
Dark
lot of
Alliance, that
people.
was it. That was that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So thank you, Game Pass. You saved me money on that.
yeah,
Oof.
yeah,
I don't know if
yeah,
I don't know if they fixed that game or not, but
yeah. I don't know. I know they fixed what's it called, the one that was just recently added to Game Pass, the steampunk one.
oh, Ascent?
Yeah, Ascent. Yeah,
No,
I know
no,
they got a
no,
patch. Oh,
no.
it still
Window
didn't fix it.
the Windows version did because apparently they
Oh,
had ray tracing issues and
oh,
graphical
okay,
issues. So actually, the PC version got, I think, had the most bugs actually. So,
okay,
but the developers did say they are aware of a lot of the kind of little bugs, and I'll talk
okay,
more about that as I, when I get to the games we've been playing section. But
okay. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, here, I'll do some housekeeping, and then yeah, we'll get right into that, what we've
got
been
a
playing.
podcast to run. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, make sure you go to our website, bossrushnetwork.com. Um, we have a bunch of other podcasts there that we that are friends of the show that we're out there hosting. You, Stoy, you're the host of the EXP cast. Definitely go check out that. Console Gaming Crew. Sorry guys, I don't know how I missed putting your podcasts on my housekeeping. Definitely go check them out. Like, I've been loving they've been doing episodes where they go back to old consoles, and then the whole episode they kind of break down like the news and like information and like things about those old consoles. Like, it's been a lot of fun. I've been enjoying those episodes a real lot.
I was gonna say, were they the ones that have been doing a lot of streaming lately? Like, I think they've been streaming Alpha Protocol lately.
That may be.
Or am I getting that confused with someone else? One of the podcasts I was watching them stream Alpha Protocol, and Alpha Protocol is near and dear to my heart. And Eddie and I are beefing right now because of that game. I almost you were there. You were present. I almost threw a whole display case at him when he said, "What's the big deal about Alpha Protocol?" And I almost threw a whole display case at him. Eddie, we're still friends, but still.
Yeah. I mean, hey, we all have our things that we love that others don't get. Ed's is Okami.
But I mean, that's not fair because everybody loves Okami.
No. I mean, Okami. I tried to play it. I think it was way too. Time had passed on that, and like it was a really great game for when it came out, but I couldn't stay with it. It just had too many of those old tropes of even like my favorite is still Ocarina of Time, and that game also has a lot of those little trope things that but it is what it is. I don't think I could.
Yeah, David Lasby on the Nintendo Pop Block episode, he said that game is overrated compared to all the other Zelda games. And I think he was trying to pick a fight, but a lot of us were just like, well, I think when it comes to Zelda fans and Nintendo fans in general are a special bunch, And especially when you get into the subcategories, like the Zelda fans are very divisive, and like Majora's Mask is the best Zelda, Ocarina of Time is the best Zelda, Wind Waker is the best Zelda, and it's like, okay, all right,
whatever. That's kind of how I am. I just the Zelda franchise, I'm glad it exists. It may not be on Xbox, but it is one of those things that really
it spawned it spawned a whole series of Zelda-like games, Zelda-like clones and stuff. So
So
who else
coming out this year? But the console. So go check out Console Gaming Crew, WASD and Beyond, Lore Together, Tower Casuals.
Lore Together. That was the one that was doing the Alpha Protocol gameplay. I think that was it.
Okay. I'll be honest. I wish I had more time to watch people streaming stuff, but I will try to catch things if I see it, if I have a moment. But 1v1 is such a great show. It's just kind of a fun place to go listen. If you're just kind of like, I mean, they get into games occasionally, but it's kind of a place where you can get other stuff as well.
Celeste is really good. Honestly, she's a damn good interviewer. She asks great questions. I mean, when she had us on, she all of a sudden like spun the conversation into like, she asked us like out of the blue, what would be a video game series you would want to turn into a musical? That was nowhere on her notes. That was nowhere on our notes, on our radar. So all of a sudden we all stopped and we were like, that's a really good question.
She's just great at making you feel relaxed and like
sure,
and comfortable.
For sure.
And then Pal Block, obviously our Nintendo podcast, and Crossroads, our PlayStation podcast. All those can be found on our website. And there's also LAN Party and Rope Talk Wrestling, a wrestling podcast, and Trash Talk, a sports podcast. So yeah, there's basically something for everyone there, and then some. It's pretty much impossible to go to our website and not find something that you're not interested in, essentially.
Yeah, for sure.
So, all right. So that brings us to what's in our arsenal. Stoy, what's in your arsenal?
Man, I've been playing The Ascent. I have a love. I mean, I love that game so much, but it's just buggy. I mean, granted, the bugs are very far and in between. Mm-hmm. I was talking with Josh because him and I played together last Monday night, and we had a good time. It was a lot of fun. He was a higher level than I was, so I had him jump with me to do, side quests and stuff, and he actually talked to me about it. He's like, "This isn't a game I would peg you to play," and I said, "Typically, I don't. I mean, these kind of like over the top Diablo. I mean, this is like Diablo meets Cyberpunk. It's like over the top kind of like action, but I love the aesthetics. I love the art design in it. I mean, there's times in the game I'm running through the game and I'm like, man, look at the background. Man, look at the architecture of this building. Like, whoever did the art for that game did a phenomenal job. There's so many cool, beautiful things to see. So much good animation in the background. And this is a small team. I think this is their first big game that they made. And it's just impressive. It's just, technical glitches that they got to get through. And I passed, it's like, you kind of look past it, so to speak.
Yeah.
So like the biggest thing I encounter is like weird audio glitches. Like periodically I'll run through the level and all of a sudden I'll hear gunfire, but there'll be nothing, or like I'll hear like random explosion sounds for no reason. And like it just kind of phases in and out.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a shame in that sense because the city and the world that you're moving around in is very alive. So there's a lot of really good ambient background noise going on, but then all of a sudden you hear like random gunfire in the background and it's like, God, that sucks.
Yeah, it breaks you out of the immersion. Yeah.
Yeah, but otherwise, like I said, it's not that common. Josh had this and I didn't have it, but his characters became unplayable. If he had a fully, so like if he took one character and played a full multiplayer session with that character, but then wanted to go play single player, that character was locked for some reason. Like he couldn't play the game single player. I never experienced that because I played single player and then I jumped on to play multiplayer and then I went back to play single player and I didn't have any issues with that. But I did hear that is a problem, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But the devs are working on it. They said they're aware, and I'll give them a pass on this because like, I hate to say that this is kind of becoming the norm now. Lately, games coming out kind of broken and unfinished.
Yeah. And
it's a shame that we kind of have as part of the ethos right now, part of the hobby that we love. It's like, okay, well, it works, but there's a lot of game breaking bugs. That breaks the game. And Josh isn't playing it until they fix it, which sucks. Like that's what I did with Cyberpunk. I got through as much as I could before I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna wait until they patch this. And I'm sitting around waiting. So
yeah, I'll be honest. So when it comes to Cyberpunk, I think I only played like the first 10-15 minutes of that game. And I haven't touched it yet. And I'm almost tempted because like at this point I don't know if I care anymore if I play that game or not, because like I'm almost tempted to take advantage of the return policy that's still going on through Xbox. They're still offering refunds for it, and I really haven't.
Really? Is that still going?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so. I think that was something that's in the one of the no, what the hell is it called? It's like the Xbox Insider thing or something or other. there's somewhere on my Xbox, I remember going into like a menu thing, and it listed, it said, if you're still thinking about getting a refund for Cyberpunk 2077, and it gave a date for how long yet, and I want to say it was like until later this year yet.
Well, yeah, Steam has that kind of similar feature, because like if you play more than 2 hours of a game, obviously it's null and void, the refund. So obviously since you play like 10, 15 minutes of it, obviously I think they track that.
Yeah. So. Yeah. But I mean, it, like this game though, the Ascent, I really want to play it. And I've been hearing like great things. I've also heard that yes, there is a lot of issues and stuff, but people, like, for the most part, people are seeming to enjoy it, like you.
And that's the weird thing. Like, don't get me wrong, like 80% of the game is fantastic. It is a phenomenal game. Like I said, it just, and like for me, I haven't experienced those like crazy big glitches, but the glitches I still have doesn't take me out of the game. Like I will still play it. I will still have a lot of fun with it. I'll still, like I said, getting good experiences out of it. The one big thing I like about that game is that every character in the game has a personality, has a voice, has a kind of like a character and a style. And I think that's the last thing I kind of really wanted to say about it, is just, the world is alive. There's so much going on in that game, and the characters that you encounter all have like, they're kind of like their personality. They're not like cookie cutter A character gives you a mission, cookie cutter B, go to cookie cutter B character who gives you another mission, stuff like that. Like these are people with personalities and like slang terms, and the writers did a really good job, and the voice actors too. So
and this, just to kind of finish it up on that game, I believe that's one of them that's only got like 10 developers, right? Like 10 people are working on that game. So sure. Like, right, there too is like I'm willing to give them kind of a pass, because you don't have nearly as many people to kind of bounce things off of, like, a lot of these games, once you get it out to, unfortunately, once you get it out and then people can kind of give their feedback, then they know where to focus their time on fixing things. But until that happens, unfortunately, it's a lot harder to find those problems ahead of time. So when you're dealing with that small of a team, so. But like I think we could see, honestly, that could be a whole topic on the show, like sometime, like just talking about those kind of things, and and whether we need to see more people, like small developers like that, taking advantage of getting the early, like the early stuff like they do on PC, where you can, play the early versions of those games, and they kind of are working on it, and then as it finishes, releasing the full version.
That's that's kind of a interesting thing about it, because a lot of people don't want to waste the money to play a game that's broken and become a tester. You may get a small contingent of people that do that. I did that once. Actually, when House Marquee, they were supposed to be developing a game. This was before Returnal even came into the forefront, and I paid $20 to play this game and be a tester for this game. Early access, like super secretive, like I had to sign a non-disclosure agreement, but I had to pay $20 to play this game that was a giant broken mess. But they obviously wanted us to test it and kind of see what features work, what doesn't, and stuff like that. And it's like, it was supposed to be like a battle royale game. They were developing a battle royale game, and the ideas that they had were kind of cool, but it was like it's just another battle royale game. Like, I'm glad they didn't finish it. I'm glad they moved on to something else. But that's kind of a hard sell for people, and I don't think like I said, some people would probably love the opportunity. Others, like I said, like we were just talking earlier today, we don't have a lot of time playing games these days. Like, do I want to spend an hour or two playing a broken game and testing it, or do I want to play something finished? And to follow up with the developer is a Neon Giant. They're based out of Sweden, and they have 11 people.
Yes.
The fact that 11 people made this game,
Yeah.
I mean, give them props. Give them props. I mean, that's why it's like, I mean, if it was like a big AAA developer with like hundreds of people involved, CD Projekt Red, you know, you like that would be one thing, you know, a big developer putting out a broken game, that's one thing. But obviously a small developer putting out kind of a broken game, it's like, yeah, you're obviously they know what they're doing. So
yeah, and it wasn't as broken as the other game. Yeah. So all right, is there anything else you've been playing?
F1 2021.
Yes.
It's scratching my racing itch because I'm not getting a racing simulator game this year because Forza Motorsport is not coming out this year. But I'm excited to find out what they have in store for it. But so I got F1 2021. They actually have a story mode in it. Kind of cool.
Nice. Yeah.
Where you actually follow the story of like, because each racing team has two drivers competing in it. So this racing team has a young driver and an old driver, and boy, the dynamics, you know, kind of ensue.
Yeah. No, that's and that's the one where one of the people you're going against is like one of the first female drivers or something like that, right? Is that game? Okay.
Nope.
All right. Well, I don't know what game I'm thinking of. There is a game I don't remember. It was a racing game where they had story mode, and it was like there was 3 different kinds of like main characters in the story. It was a girl that was, you know, one of the first female, you know, racers to get like in the high, you know, like the finals or something like that. And I don't know. I don't remember.
I'm trying to think what that is. Yeah.
I thought it was a Formula One style game, but it might not have been Formula One. It might have been something else. But yeah,
I don't know that, because that, I mean, that sounds familiar, you know, when you think about it. But yeah, otherwise, like I said, that's it's interesting how they do the story mode, because most of the time you're racing either 10 to 16 or 18 laps, so to speak. And honestly, you're flying at such a fast rate. Like you're knocking out these laps like in a minute and a half, you know, because these cars are going super fast and they're so grippy on the ground. Like you don't have to worry about like body roll or, you know, any kind of other kind of physics. Like when it turns. It's just obviously coming out of the apex of the turn. You can't like slam on the gas really hard because those things are so fast. They'll end up spinning out. So but yeah, there's obviously a lot of simulation elements in it, and you can change the amount of realism that you want. I leave mostly simulation on. I think the only assist I give myself is traction control, which that helps.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, it's kind of a cool story because the young guy is being a cocky little asshole. The old guy is being an arrogant asshole. So it's like you got these two assholes kind of butting up against each other, pun intended. And, you know, eventually in the end, it's like one of those things, I'm to the point of the story where they're like, maybe we should start working together to achieve our goals. Yeah. Like, well, what a predictable story.
Yeah. But at the same time, not enough of that in life sometimes. People figuring that out.
Yeah, I know. And for some people, they figure it out too late, to where it's like, hey, if you succeed, I succeed. If you fail, I fail. You know, and then it's just one of those things. So, you know, there's really good acted, pre-scripted cut scenes in between some of the races. There's some races where like you'll race into a race and you'll pass a significant portion of this race, so to speak, and all of a sudden like a pre-scripted event will happen where like you have to pit, or you have to or you get into a crash or something like that, whatever. So
so there's some like little like events throughout the game, but for the most part, like it sounds like it works its way towards eventually where, you know, like once you do need to, you know, try to be first place and all that stuff, it kind of lets you. But for the most part, it's like there's a story, there's a narrative that's got to be told.
Oh, so, yeah, for sure. And I know they can't predict everything. Like there was one race I jumped 12 like in 12th or 13th place, and I got to first. Like I was like, man, I was hammering it. I was like, let's fucking go, let's do this. And I got to first place. And I just remember, like, in between, like, the pre-scripted cutscenes, like, I won first place. I got the trophy. I went up 12 places. And the commentators are like, yeah, it's a good day for points for the Haas driver or whatever. And I'm like, good day for points? Huh? I got first. Don't tell me good day for points, or like playing it off like, yeah, he did a pretty decent job today. Like, yeah, okay. I know they can't predict it because, like,
yeah,
certain objectives, like, you have to get at least in the top 10, or you have to pass this particular driver. They'll give you specific objectives. And obviously, if you crash out and you fail, game over. You got to start over again.
Okay. Yeah, you're not the only person I've heard talk highly about that game, and people. There's a couple of people that I've heard talking about how much they really enjoy that, and it's really
it's so beautiful. Like, I'm playing it on PS5 and it looks so good. And I forgot EA bought Codemasters.
Yeah.
So it's weird firing that game up and hearing the EA Sports logo.
Yeah.
I was like, well, it's kind of interesting, but
Yeah, it's well, honestly, that, and just in general, it's interesting. All those racing, people who make racing games that they basically EA bought up, and they already have, Need for Speed and, all these other games. So I'm just curious where all that stuff is, like, if it's gonna be where they're just gonna focus on one Need for Speed game, 1 year, and then one of those other ones a different year.
Codemasters is a racing game factory. Like, they develop the Dirt series. They develop WRC, World Rally Championship. They develop F1. I think they're developing the new Grid game. There's a new Grid game coming out.
Which I'm excited for that.
I am not. But no, I don't know. I think I watched the trailer and I was like, this looks way too dramatic for me.
Maybe that's the game that I'm thinking of. Maybe
there's a female racer in there.
Yeah, didn't they? Because I think that might have been from their their trailer, their story trailer or whatever.
That makes sense.
I think okay.
That makes sense. Yeah. I think I do remember, like, one of the characters that was in there was a female, and so females racing with a bunch of bros and dudes, like, bros get a little bit what's the word,
defensive
or they get all of a sudden, like, upstage, like, there's a girl that's beating us. That can't happen. We're men. We're boys.
Yeah.
Whatever, dude.
My masculinity is at stake here.
Whatever, dude. I got cleaned out by a girl today, and I was like, damn, all right, nice work.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You'll learn it. It's going to happen.
You go and learn.
All right. So is that's basically been it then for you, for what you've been playing?
I don't want to talk about Great Ace Attorney. I've been playing that a lot. Okay. I just don't want to talk about it too much.
Okay. It's for me, what's been in my arsenal is I finally, and I forgot to talk about it on the last episode, but I finally finished Jedi Fallen Order, and absolutely loved that game.
So good.
Yeah, it was
so good.
And that was another thing I was gonna bring up in there, because
Jesse, if you don't write it down, it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
and it never happened.
I'm just gonna say it now. So we got some news about that, and they called it a franchise, that there's gonna be more work, more coming on that franchise. So we know that there's more than one more game coming out.
Yeah.
Dealing with Jedi Fallen Order, which was great news. I'm so excited for that, because
Respawn is kind of increased, in size.
Yeah.
Because they developed a VR game just recently. They developed Medal of Honor, and obviously they've got a big team working on Apex Legends, and I think they have a little bit of laterality that they can dedicate a lot of people to working on the next Jedi Fallen Order. So.
Yeah, I was so excited when I heard that news. That
still kind of waiting on a Titanfall 3, but I don't think we're gonna get that for a while, which makes me sad.
Yeah, well, and like, I love what I've played of like of what's Apex. But my only problem is I like to have a solo mode where I can just go in there by myself and just kind of get used to everything. And then that way, if I want to play with a squad, I know that I can like hold my own. But I
Mhm.
go in there, playing with a squad, and I'm just definitely the weakest link because I just do not get enough practice of with that game. And yeah, I don't know. Because I really want to love that game, but I just wish they would put a solo mode in there
Yeah.
for me.
Well, quoting Homer Simpson, if you try your best and you fail miserably, never try. My
uh,
philosophy.
yeah, yeah, for sure. It's yeah, because I do love that. I do love Apex, but yeah, it's
So
just hard for me because I don't have.
go back to Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah. Well, so
How'd you
so
like it?
yeah, so yeah, I absolutely loved it. There's like the puzzle stuff in that game, like at times it was very reminiscent of like a Tomb Raider game almost, which
Or
I
or
kind of
Legend of
like.
Zelda.
Yeah, yeah, that too. But like more, I think I just felt more like Tomb Raiders because of like the whole like the big wide open caverns and things of underground stuff, like with like, it's just very reminiscent of the way they design the levels in Tomb Raider games and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, like for the most part, the controls and everything were pretty good. The only thing I do not like is when you go down those sliding areas where you had to slide, and kind of control yourself while you're sliding, because for whatever reason the controls for me were just way too touchy, where I would either
Mhm.
be way over to one side or whatever, like those weren't my favorite. But overall, like controls and stuff in that game were pretty spot on.
Yeah,
Like,
that kind of reminded me of Uncharted. I think Uncharted 4 had a lot of those
yeah,
sequences, and
yeah,
it reminded me of that. And kind of like, yeah, trying to control yourself in a slide on like a mudslide or like a rock slide. Like, yeah,
yeah,
I don't know.
and
It's to me, it's
yeah,
like if you can't control it right, don't put it in there. But
yeah,
I
and
guess
and
I
then
understand the way they design their levels.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, because they
whatever.
needed you to be able to get from one place spot of the level to the next without, allowing you to backtrack or whatever easily.
Right? Yeah.
But and the only part that sucked about it was just like those jumps that they would have to, you'd have to perform at the end to be able to make it. Like, and like especially the jumping and holding a certain direction to like grab vines or whatever to swing from.
Mm,
Like that's where it got to be a little annoying, because I don't know, like it was sometimes it felt like whatever direction I was holding when I jumped, it wouldn't be going that direction that I was holding. It would go slightly off somewhere else.
yeah.
But but yeah, but other than that, like the game was a lot of fun. Yeah, the only reason it took me so long is I kind of started it, and then, like a bunch of other stuff came out, and then I just kind of was like, okay, well, I'll do a couple of things here and there, and then that led on to more and more things coming out that I was excited to try. And
Did
then,
you
yeah,
do
now
the upgrade for it? Obviously, you did, right?
the what?
For Jedi Fallen Order, do you
Do the
get to
what?
experience the Series X upgrade?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yep,
How's
yeah,
it runs pretty smooth.
yeah. It runs really smooth.
Okay.
It's definitely been a change from when I first started playing it to now, because I do remember that just kind of like the very slight, like, kind of drops and dips in frame rate while
Hmm.
you're doing certain things, like especially if you're doing like a combo with your lightsaber or something. I would notice quite a big drop at times in frame rates. Or definitely, I believe the almost all the cutscenes were really bad. I think in some of the earlier stuff when I first started playing it. I
Oh,
think I
really?
had
Wow.
I think I had some dips in frame rate when those were playing when I originally played it, because
I don't know. Some of you people with like your eyes can like see like a dip in like 1 frame. Like all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm playing it at 26 frames per second. Like,
yeah.
how can you tell? Like I can't. Maybe my eyes aren't trained that way.
Yeah, I think it's the motion of everything else. Like, because like you'll notice like when you're jumping, like where it's like it's almost in slow motion for a second. Like,
I don't know. I
I
don't
don't know,
think
it's
that.
hard
I
to
don't know if that's a
explain.
frame rate. I just think it's. I know what you're thinking, and I think that's just the jump animation
Yeah.
that they developed and put in to the game.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
that's a frame rate issue. I
Well,
know like in certain combat sequences, like the frame rates would dip, especially if there's a lot of enemies on the screen. But I think that's par for the course for any game.
yeah.
But
But
I heard that's been all since eliminated with the
oh
new
yeah. Yeah.
updates.
Yeah. Well, and mind you, like a lot of what I experienced was like literally when it um like pretty early on when it came out. I think they were still in the process of doing patches and stuff.
Hmm.
When I first started getting into it.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, but otherwise, yeah, like I enjoyed it. I loved the kind of like like how everything ended and stuff, like with the thought that there was probably going to be another one
Hmm.
anyways. But like, yeah, and like the characters were really great, and like there's some really great like points in the story where like just if you're a fan of Star Wars, like fun areas and characters that you're familiar with and whatever,
Hmm.
or storylines and things like that. So
I'm gonna
yeah.
spoil it here. So be
Okay.
forewarned.
Okay.
But when Darth Vader enters the scene, bro,
Yeah. Yeah.
like that was epic. Like,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden it's like, fight Darth Vader. Like, no, I don't want to fight Darth Vader. I turn off the game right now.
Yeah.
But and for of course, naturally, like you can't win against him. But like he had such a brief moment. But I just love how Darth Vader is probably one of the more terrifying, if not the most terrifying villain in the Star Wars universe. So,
Yeah.
the fact that when they introduced him and they made him, I mean, Darth Vader is like the most powerful Jedi in the whole universe. And I really feel sometimes the earlier movies didn't do him justice.
Mm-mm.
We got
Mm-mm.
one bit of his power at the end of Rogue One,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I think was my favorite scene with him out of anything.
Yeah.
But that one was another one where all of a sudden he just like the sound effects, the drop onto the floor, just man.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, no,
Yeah.
I don't want to fight him.
Yeah, it's on record. Rogue One is actually my personal favorite Star Wars movie, just in general, period. Like I just like like they just did such a good job of really showing us how crucial that battle was. That was
Mhm.
just just a talking point in the movies. Like it really
Yeah, it
we
barely
we
registered a blip on the radar.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we got to see just how big of a deal that was, and like all those people that basically sacrificed their life to give any kind of option to be able to win the battle in the future, like.
Mhm.
So yeah, and like you said, that moment of Darth Vader in that movie, like did way more for his character, I feel like, than any of those original movies. Like yeah, you really got to see just what a badass he was.
Yeah, and how powerful he was. Obviously,
Yeah.
in episode 3, we got to see how much of a whiny little baby he was, but
Yeah.
we didn't really get to fully see the transformation into
Yeah.
him becoming that until we got to see that in Rogue One, obviously.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But
what else
yeah,
have you been playing?
so otherwise, I've also been playing a lot of the flight simulator. So okay, so I went so my vacation, I went to Upper Michigan. I went to Mackinac Island. I went to Mackinac City, went over the Mackinac Bridge, all that stuff in Upper Michigan. And so like before I left for my vacation, I actually hopped on Flight Simulator and I flew over that area just to kind of see how it was all set up and stuff. And it was funny. So I had never been there before, right? So I went, did the whole Flight Simulator thing, flew over the area of where we were going to be staying. And like one of the things I remember is these big wind turbines that were on in Mackinac City. And so flash forward to when I went on my vacation, we were driving over that bridge and I'm like, oh, there's those wind turbines that I seen.
Honey, I saw this in a video game I played.
That's essentially how it happened.
And that's when your wife knew that this was all a mistake.
But yeah, it was funny. So like, yeah, it was just kind of cool seeing how cool. Realistic it was though. Like a lot of those landmarks and those things that I seen on the game, I actually seen in real life later. It's crazy how detailed those areas get without being exact, like it's kind of what's actually there, but not really. But they do a good job of it. And I flew over like by where I live and stuff too, and that's the same. It's pretty close to reality. But yeah, so I've been enjoying that. I haven't done a whole lot with it. I'm just kind of trying to do the training stuff because I've turned off all assistance except for I think they're like just some kind of like I think they got something like with the voice stuff, assistance of some sort. Like I think of them telling you like certain things. I don't quite know what it does, but as far as like actually
not
flying
following
the plane,
you.
yeah. But as far as actually flying the plane, like there is no assistance at all unless I put like autopilot on, right?
Mm-hmm. So one question I want to ask. So like say for example, you decide you want to fly from Chicago to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Can you, and I obviously it's in real time, so however long it takes to fly from Chicago to Japan, it's all real time. What if all of a sudden at the halfway point you want to stop playing? Like is there a checkpoint system? Can you quick resume?
I think there is quick resume on that.
I would hope so, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a Microsoft first party title, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so like it's basically like you could just kind of like stop, you could just kind of quit the game and then quick resume and pick up where you left off.
Yeah, or I mean essentially, like if you're playing it with fully realistic, a full simulator, you're gonna have to land at multiple places to gas up,
right,
and stuff like that. So what you could also do is you could when you like, let's say you want to finish playing for that day, you want to land though at an airport. Remember what that airport is, and if for some reason your quick resume didn't work or whatever, if you remember what airport you were at last, you can type that in as your starting point. And
that was going to be my other question.
Yep. Yeah, because you can put in literally anything. Like you type in a real city in real life, and it will, like, if you have multiple airports in that city or whatever, it will pull up some of those. Or they will be dots on the map as like, this is an airport, this is an airport. Like when you zoom into states, there is a bunch of stuff that you can kind of look for as starting points. But
very cool.
Otherwise you can literally just pick up a spot on a map and say, I want to start from here. And then it will just start you in the air from there if it's not an actual airport.
Mm-hmm.
like you'll just be, in the process of flying and then you take control. But yeah, I mean, yeah, there's very little limits to that game as far as like, how you want to start the flying or where you want to start flying from or whatever. Yeah, there's really not much holding you back there. You can
Very cool.
basically start from anywhere. So
Very
so
cool.
yeah, it's an amazing game, and it looks great. Like when you're playing with headphones, like you can hear the, like the sound of the wind, like on the side of the airplane and stuff like that.
That's
And
cool.
it's very, very, very relaxing. Like just hearing that wind, like slowly, like kind of in the background, and the, like the shifting of the plane and the shaking of it when you hit wind and stuff.
Yeah,
It's
Chris
so
was talking about
realistic.
that last week, where he says it's probably one of the most relaxing games he's ever played.
It definitely is. I mean,
One of these days, I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna download it. So
yeah. Yeah, it's definitely worth it. And then the last thing that I've been playing, and like I think to this day I can safely say it is my game so far, my game of the year. Now there's a lot to come out yet here, but Death's Door has just been like just so much fun. And
mhm.
I'm on the last boss of that game. I literally just got to go face him, and then I think there's a couple few things that I can do at the end for collectibles, because I do want to try to 100% that game. But yeah, I basically have to go against the final boss, and then the majority of the story then should be done. Um, it's just, I love the characters in that game. They do a really good job of the, like, the humor slash like wittiness of characters, very similar to what Zelda has done, over the years, where they have the goofy character that will be like very energetic or over the top and
That's like
does
every Zelda
something.
character.
Yep. Yeah, that's over the top and then does something really, like whatever, and then accidentally gets hurt, or something like that. And like those, but they do that kind of stuff like what Zelda does, and they did it like really, really well. Like on, like, the character building in general is like top of the line in my opinion. Like
Hmm.
like they just absolutely hit the nail on the head as far as like creating characters that you care about and that are entertaining, and just like the little crow character that you play as is just so adorable. And like, like it's funny just seeing this little crow walking around with this big massive like Zelda sword on his back.
Hmm.
And just like, yeah, it's just such a good game. And like the only thing that is difficult about it is there is no map. Like there's no map at all. So like you just kind of, it's like old school, like at times can be like the water dungeon from Ocarina of Time, where you're just like, okay, where the
You're
heck,
backtracking a lot.
where, yeah,
Yeah.
where you're like, where the heck was that area?
Hmm.
And like, yeah, so there, that part can kind of suck at times, but honestly I just enjoy the maps or the world, and like the levels and the areas so much that I honestly don't care if I'm going back and backtracking,
Hmm.
because a lot of the upgrade system is also based on souls. So like you got to trap, like you collect every character you kill, you collect a soul, and then that's also your like your what you use to pay for your upgrades or whatever.
Hmm.
So like, theoretically you're going to want to do a lot of backtracking and going through areas and killing people over and over again if you really want to upgrade everything to 100%. Now you don't really have to. And like the major upgrades, like amount of health and amount of stamina, those are upgraded in a different way. There's these shrine things that you got to find, and for it's like heart pieces in Zelda. So for every 4 of these shrines you find, then that creates a full new piece of health or a new piece of stamina. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of like Zelda-esque type of things in it. But then
So what we talked about earlier, Zelda's a very influential game across all platforms.
And the other game that I played earlier, just the demo of, but Tunic, I can't wait for that game to come out fully too, because that one was fun. I like that. But yeah, this game though is definitely, if you like those kind of like Zelda type kind of games, but with a little bit, when it comes to the bosses are definitely a lot more difficult than a Zelda boss. It's more along the lines of like your Dark Souls kind of thing, where you really got to know the patterns, because especially further on in the game, the bosses don't give you a whole lot of openings where you can do just a regular attack. And so you've got to kind of use some of your other abilities when you can't just use a full on sword attack or whatever, and then kind of build off. There's some little mechanics in there with when some characters shoot things out or have these things that follow you that you can attack, that you can actually, when you hit them with your sword, you can bounce them towards enemies to do damage. So there's things where you're like balancing stuff like that, and and you have a hook shot thing similar to Zelda, where you can use that for certain things as well to evade attacks or whatever quicker. But yeah, it's definitely an amazing game, and the story and everything, I thought they did a really good job of the writing and giving you characters you actually care about. So
very cool.
So yeah, so like I said, I was definitely excited with that game. So all right, yeah, and otherwise that's all I've been playing. So Stoy, why don't you give us a little taste of what we're gonna be seeing in Game Pass here?
Sure. In case you don't know, on bossrushgames.com, pretty much once or twice a month, I put out a article that showcases what's coming out for Game Pass. And Xbox pretty much puts out updates like almost like about 1 to 2 times a month. It's actually pretty awesome. So like there's always constantly games rolling in, rolling out, stuff like that. So they just came out a few days ago with what's coming out for the first half of August. So, and it's a bunch of good stuff. The first one that's coming out, it's actually came out August 5th. Actually, the majority of these games are already out, with the exception of maybe 3 of them. Curse of the Dead Gods, that's out for the cloud, console, and PC. Josh actually played this. This is a roguelike kind of wizardry Indiana Jones style game or whatever. I guess that's how he. But basically, it's like an infinite labyrinth type area. But apparently, the roguelike part of the game is actually very easy. So it's not like real hard or anything like that. So it's probably something that, like, especially if you were thinking about getting into this game, you might want to give this one a shot. So otherwise, to Dodgeball Academia, if you're into dodgeball and anime and Teen Titans, play this game. I haven't played it, but that's the impression that I got of it. Basically, you're like part of this like dodgeball team, and you're making friends and making enemies. It's got a big whole story mode to it.
Yeah, I actually did play a little bit of this. Yeah, it's pretty much an RPG with where your battle mechanics are dodgeball. Very very similar to like the amazing game that was on Switch back in the day, the Golf Story. It's very it's something similar to that, where your dodgeball is your fighting mechanic essentially.
If you played the old like Super Dodgeball games like way back when from like Nintendo, very similar to that. So
yeah.
Katamari Damacy Reroll. So if you ever imagine taking a weird clown dressed looking magician, whatever, and rolling around a city, gathering a bunch of garbage and trying to gather as much garbage as possible, boy, do we have a game for you. This game is just weird, but it's kind of like a beloved, like kind of underground. I think this game was made popular in like the 360 days. I think even as far back as like PlayStation 2. But yeah, this one's out for cloud, console, and PC August 5th. Luminous Remastered. This kind of reminds me a little bit like Tetris, but like with kind of flashier graphics and designs. But it's basically like you're trying to match tiles going sideways as opposed to up and down like Tetris.
Okay.
But yeah, this was really popular way back when puzzle games first started to kind of gain traction. So this was out on cloud, console, and PC August 5th as well. If you ever wanted to get into Skate, now's the time, because Skate is available on EA Play August 5th. So if you're a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, you actually get EA Play with it. So you can play the first Skate on the console, and Skate 3 you can only play on the cloud. And that's okay. Yeah, it's interesting why they did that. I don't know. So Starmancer is coming out August 5th. This is a game preview. So kind of like what you were talking about with like, it's a little bit of a beta mode. So basically it's like it's like a survival zombie shooter type game. So basically you're building spaceports, secret laboratories, and incubators for eggs that you gather in this science fiction roguelike game or whatever. You also have to worry about starvation and zombies. And apparently these eggs that you grow humans in them, and they fight for you. I don't know where these people come up with these games and come up with these ideas, but that's the thing. So what's coming out August 12th is Art of Rally. Basically, it's a rally racing game kind of in a top-down setting. So it's not like the traditional behind the camera or behind the cockpit view. Like this is like a top-down race where like you can actually there's a lot of complex tracks, basically. Excuse me. And the fact that you're seeing the track way ahead of time compared to like how you would in like a normal racing game, like you can actually plan and prepare your route a little bit better, I guess is what they say. But apparently this is a game made from the original creator of Absolute Drift, which came out years ago. So
this is one of those games I'm really looking forward to, because I love the like, it's almost like I don't know what kind of art style you would call it. Like I guess like almost cel shading, I guess, kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like it got a very good like kind of pastel type color palette to it.
Yeah.
So I may pick it up. Obviously, I'm not for sure if I'll really get into it that much, but it does intrigue me a bit. So
I love like back in the day, like RC Pro Am.
Yep.
Was one of my all-time favorite games, and like I almost look at these kind of games like this that is like a more modern version almost of that. I mean, there are still games that I've played that are very similar, done exactly like RC Pro Am was, but with more modern graphics.
Yeah.
But like this, I think the perspective of how you play is a little bit better than that just full on top down, you know. So
yeah, very cool. But it's got like 4 cars you can race with, and it's even got a free roam area game. So like you can actually just kind of drive and just relax, have a good time, not even compete.
Nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your buns, because Hades is coming out to Game Pass. Pretty much the ultimate roguelike game. I talked about Curse of the Dead Gods earlier, where maybe that would be a good opening to roguelike games. Nah, bro, it's Hades. And I don't know. Have you played this on the Switch at all or anything like that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
But
because this game came out exclusively for the Switch and the PC, and actually this week it's going to be coming out for PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and all the Xbox systems. So
and you have played it then. You have
yes.
played it then.
Yes.
So like I'm not against playing rogue games.
I hate roguelike games. Hate them.
See,
I think the mechanic of dying in a game is anti what game should be.
Yeah.
The objective is to survive, but this game Hades is literally revolving around you dying, and every time you die you get a boost, or you get more powerful the more times you die. So it's like it doesn't make sense to me in my gamer brain. You know, like, wait a minute, I thought dying was supposed to be bad, but in this game, like, when you die, the story still continues, and you actually get to see more cutscenes, you get to talk to more people, the levels change a little bit, and then you also have like more powerful boosts and upgrades. So it's like, dying, it's not like you die and you lose all your shit like some games. Like, die and actually you get more powerful. So
yeah, because like I love Dead Cells, like that, like
that was cool.
Most of those kind of roguelike games I do end up falling off of, but Dead Cells did enough for like that you felt like your time you spent in the game wasn't completely wasted.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and as long as like it sounds like you're saying is it's definitely how it works with this game, that your time is not wasted. Like, I could probably see me sticking with, like, if I do end up trying this out, I probably would stick with it.
Oh yeah, for sure. You could actually beat this game in 35 minutes. Like, I mean, if you had it dialed down, you know, really good, like you could feasibly beat this game in a half hour. I have not beaten the game yet, but I've gotten pretty far. It's still on my radar. I do want to get back into it, and I think this will probably help, jump into it. So, but yeah, you're basically playing as Zagreus, the son of Hades, and you're trying to get out of hell. You want to kind of escape and wield these magic powers, because like you get actually other Greek gods trying to help you in this process, because Hades is kind of a dick, and he's like being a dad where he's like, nah man, you can't go outside, but dad, no, stay at home. So you're playing an angsty teen trying to live. So
nice.
But yeah, and otherwise Microsoft Solitaire collection.
Really?
PC.
Oh, okay, for PC.
This comes out August 17th, so it comes out next week.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not against playing some good Solitaire every once in a while. But I have it on my phone at this point. If I want to play Solitaire, I just pull up my phone.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. Otherwise, what's leaving? By the time you hear this will already be gone. Grand Theft Auto 5 will be leaving, so you're going to have to buy it like a chump. Otherwise, on August 15th, Ape Out, Crossing Souls, Darksiders Genesis, Don't Starve, Final Fantasy VII, and Train Sim World 2020 will be leaving the service on August 15th. So
no, but did they get rid of GTA 5 because the series, the PS5 and Series X version is coming out soon, so maybe they might put it back in eventually, once those upgrades have come out.
This is the second time it's actually been on Game Pass, so it's I think so. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually released it again, just to get more interest into the. So, but like, it's kind of interesting how Final Fantasy VII did it, where like if you got the PlayStation Plus version, you were not eligible for the free upgrade that you were supposed to get if you bought the game. So I imagine they're gonna run into that.
Yeah.
So
we shall see. Yeah.
But yeah, that's the Game Pass news coming at you. So I think Hades is going to be the big one, and for you guys hammering for Skate to come back, developers are working on it. EA's working on it, but this is something that'll kind of wet your whistle a little bit. So playing Skate again.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of AX news, but I just had two things that I kind of, and the first one I There's more to this than what I have here, but anyways, .emu wants to make games based on Terminator, Conan, and other nostalgic action franchises. Now, this is from an article that I found on IGN. So if you're not familiar with .emu, they're the ones right now that are working on that new Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles side-scrolling beat 'em up game.
They also did Streets of Rage.
Yes, and Streets
probably
of Rage.
The best side-scrolling
action
beat 'em up game to come out in years.
Yeah. They did the Streets of Rage, 4, and so they wanna try to tackle some of these old school franchises, that back in the day when we would get a game for them on NES or whatever, or Super Nintendo. They're usually pretty crappy. They were just like, it was like a name.
RoboCop versus Terminator was actually pretty solid. I do remember that.
Yeah.
For Super Nintendo. That was pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, not saying all of them were bad, like, like the Disney classic collection, like all those Disney games and stuff. Like some of them that were based on the movies, like Lion King was still is one of my favorite games based on a Disney movie.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yes, I loved that game. I did not like
it. I mean, I was more. Yeah, I know. I think I was more into Aladdin, obviously.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, there were a lot of great ones, and like I loved the Terminator, the shooter game that was in the arcade, like where you had like that. Yeah. That was
stationary gun.
Fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize this, but apparently, last week they were actually just acquired by Focused Home Interactive. Yep. So now that they have a big publisher backing them, this may be something more of a dream. It's just obviously trying to get the licenses, which may cost more money than they think, especially franchises that are probably still around. I know they mentioned it'd be cool to do an Indiana Jones game, but I highly doubt they have the money for that.
Yeah. Well, and like I think, and like I know it's kind of hard to picture really any of this, but I mean, like it sounds like they want to make these games more like a retro style game, so like not your full on like like what the Indiana Jones game that's that's coming out possibly within the next couple of years or whatever from Xbox's
machine games.
Yeah, but they want to do.
They got that from that Bethesda deal, so.
Yeah, but they wanna kind of do more of your retro style, like, and Super Nintendo style games and stuff like that, versions of these, kind of like what they're continuing, like we said with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game and so
they're working on Metal Slug too. I mean, a little bit different type of game. I think it's more going to be like a tactic style game, but I saw a preview of that earlier this year, and I was like, wow, that's actually pretty slick. So I mean, let the studio do what they're best at. Obviously they've proven, with Streets of Rage, and I think some of the other beat 'em ups that they've done, and then also too how good Teenage Ninja Turtles is looking, because the TMNT series has been dying for another resurgence, because back then, like Turtles in Time, Hyperstone Heist, like just the arcade, just the standard arcade game, like those were the antithesis of what beat 'em ups should be. And they still hold up to this day. So let Dotemu, however you call it, let them do what they do best. And
like we see a lot of people sticking with the whole retro style games and stuff. And like I think that's what that retro style genre of games is kind of missing, is some good, like like nostalgic or just popular, iconic, characters. A lot of them are, not saying that they're bad because they don't have any of that stuff, but it's just like it would bring more people into that kind of genre of games if you have some big well-known things like Conan and Terminator and
Mhm.
and like I honestly I wouldn't mind seeing like movies get like these games like this again and have companies like this doing it, but like actually making these games because they genuinely are fans of the movie, which just wasn't something that really happened in the past. It was just like a fight for an IP, like they is like who could get a hold of this franchise or whatever movie and make a game about it, and they weren't necessarily fans of those games
Mhm.
or those movies, I should say. But
Yeah, I think even just reading this article, I think it's kind of like the guy was kind of going through pipe dreams, like, oh, I would love to do this, I would love to do that.
yeah.
Is it possible? It's just one of those things. I think, it would be tough. Like I said, just grabbing the IP. A lot of
Hmm.
these kind of movie studios, like they probably have developers in mind where like, well, we want to work with these people, we want to work with those people. If Dotemu like kind of gets success from TMNT, and I think that's going to skyrocket their fame a little bit to where they will
Hmm.
be a household name amongst people that know video game developers.
Yeah.
Kind of like Infinity Ward or BioWare, stuff like that. Those are household names.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would love to see them do it. Although I don't know, my it's one of those things. I highly doubt they'd get as many big franchises that they'd probably want.
Yeah. Well,
Fun to
and
dream. Fun to dream.
yeah, although some like the Conan franchise, there is a game, a more recent game that came out, but like honestly I don't even know who the developer of that game, like it does seem like some of these have fallen out of like the mainstream
Hmm.
enough that it's easier for them, like like hell I would like to see them get like a deal with Netflix and do like the like I don't know, uh He-Man or something, like like do something like that, even some of these that no one's really, you haven't really seen anyone trying to do anything with,
That'd be cool. Yeah.
that like it, because I mean there's a lot of franchises that are from the 80s that are coming back, and there's no talk or any sight, at least in the near future, of anyone trying to do anything with them yet, so
Right.
I
Well,
don't know.
it's just a matter of, like I said, a big enough franchise that it's going to sell.
Yeah.
Is Conan a very
Yeah.
well-known franchise? I mean, not maybe compared to something like, Stranger Things or even
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles, So,
Yeah. Yeah.
you have a small subgroup that'll probably get into something like Conan or something like Terminator, but yeah. So, honestly, like I said, if this is something that they can do, have at it. I mean, have some fun with it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. All right, so the next thing, so like, obviously a lot has been going on lately, with the Activision Blizzard stuff. It seems like every time someone from Activision or Blizzard opens their mouth on Twitter or whatever, it's just making it worse for themselves.
don't go on
Um,
Twitter.
yeah. Well, and it's just like if you gotta really just actually think about what you're saying before you say it, when you've already are like out there being focused on as a person who's a part of the problem. Like it's just, yeah, it's incredible the things that these people are saying. It's like, yeah, this is probably a good explanation as to why things are so bad over there, because you really have lost touch of how things should be ran and how things should be handled.
Hmm.
But so yeah, the co-creator Steve, I think it's Geiner, or
Gainer.
Yeah, Gainer. Best known for his work creating indie adventure Gone Home, has stepped back from his role as creative lead on the upcoming game Open Roads, with the reports of toxic work culture. So this is from IGN. IGN had wrote a piece. So he had, kind of been outed by some of his coworkers and stuff. There are people under him or whatever that he had been mistreating, people that work there and stuff. And he essentially got in front of it and, took full responsibility and said, yes, I have done some things that have hurt people, and I think it's best that I just kind of step back and maybe just let things go without me for right now in the forefront.
That's probably good, because from what I've been reading, his leadership style sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some people that, have great ideas but are just bad leaders.
Yeah.
And from what I've been reading with a lot of what people have been saying about him, he's very aggressive and very demeaning toward a lot of people. And, sometimes men in general can be a little bit extra demeaning toward women, which is what I'm gathering, and a lot of people said like they haven't experienced or seen him like sexually assault people or make inappropriate sexual comments to women, but, a guy like this in power is a child. And, when they're given power, it's like everybody underneath them is like, oh, you guys are useless, or you guys are like, you guys can't do this without me. So you have this kind of like arrogant style of leadership where it's like, if you're not doing what I say, if you're not doing what I want you to do, I'm going to insult you, and I'm going to keep insulting you and demean you. And obviously that's resulted in, at the very least, 12 people formerly with the company who left because of that. I mean, admittedly, I don't know if these people got exit interviews to even mention this. And it sounds like he actually stepped down in March, but obviously with the more recent controversy, like this is becoming a trending news topic now.
Yeah.
But I'll give it to him that obviously he came out to say, like, I obviously understand that this is a part of who I am. And the fact that he's taking a step back and just being a writer, for the game, it's like, okay, all right, maybe you just don't have those leadership qualities that you probably should have.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I mean, and it's definitely a difference, like you said. I don't think there's been any accusations of like, sexual type stuff. I don't think that's
like I said earlier,
like you said. So I think it is good on him, though, is definitely something we haven't seen with the Activision Blizzard stuff, where people are kind of owning things. They were just kind of trying to ignore it and hide it until they couldn't anymore. And and it's definitely I give them props for owning it and saying that it probably isn't a great thing for me to be in this position. And it's definitely it's a step in the right direction.
for
maybe
sure. I mean, we've all worked with people like this.
Exactly.
The type of people that are just demeaning and just constant microaggressions. I work with those people. I work with doctors and stuff like that. That it's like microaggression after microaggression, and it's like I'm the type of person that I just shrug that off, because I know it's not a personal attack against me. It's almost like you're just a shitty person, and I'm not gonna let you being a shitty person bother me. But obviously I can shrug that shit off better than some other people can. I've been witness to some people like just basically going to the corner and crying, or like getting pissed off about something. I mean, I have no hesitancy to actually yell at someone. But I know a lot of people aren't like that. So
and I mean, that's like You always hear, and doctors, especially in your field, they're not exactly great when it comes to bedside manner. The
Some are, some aren't. It's
some
getting
are,
better.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
now that we're getting younger doctors in, they're kind of like, the
yeah,
bedside manner is really good. I think that's a little bit more of an old school thing, but
yeah,
you get some of them that are just a little bit cocky, a little bit arrogant, and
yeah,
just walking with their wangs out and stuff. And
yeah. Well, and I mean, like when you're dealing with surgery and stuff, there's a
healthcare
whole
in general.
yeah, but I mean, like with surgery and the stuff that you see and you do, there's a part of you that almost has to put up a wall and not care quite as much, like on some level
ultimately
about the
ultimately in the end, sometimes you have to be an asshole to get shit done.
yeah, yeah,
Like it's just a fact of life.
yeah,
It's a fact of certain workplace environments where you have to be that boss that has to be kind of an asshole.
yeah,
Does that translate to video game development? Probably
yeah.
not.
Well,
This
and
is we're developing a video game. We're not trying to build
yeah,
a structurally sound building. We're not trying to do surgery on someone.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
making a video game. You don't
yeah. It's
need to be
not
a
life
jerk.
and death.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's
don't
not
need to be
life
a
and
jerk.
death. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not life and death if you
So
mess up.
like I said, I give props for Steve for at least acknowledging it. And,
Yeah,
obviously this shows how important he is to the company. So at the very least, like everybody probably kind of got together to say, like, you're good at your job, you're good at what you do. Obviously, Gone Home was one of the most significant walking simulator narratives to come out in recent years. And obviously he's probably doing something very important for this game. So keeping him on, obviously, and keeping the integrity of the game is good. But obviously, it's like, hey man, you're not a good leader. Maybe he needs to take some classes or get some
hmm,
leadership development.
yeah,
Step
yeah,
one, don't be a jerk.
yeah, for sure. All right. And so that ends the AX news. The only extra content I have for today is just to remind people that ID at Xbox and Twitch are doing an indie showcase again today. When you're hearing this, it will be today at 11 a.m. Central Time, and that's August 10th. So yeah, today when you guys are listening to this show, it will be at 11 a.m. Central Time. So
Yeah, so pretty much
definitely,
ID Xbox is like their commitment to working with independent developers like a little bit more directly.
yep.
So you can actually, so say if you're like a small time video game developer and you want a little bit of that Microsoft help, you can actually register and apply for this
Hmm.
kind of for this program. So like, yeah, if you got this really grand idea, but you got nowhere to make money, like Microsoft will actually pay you, which is kind of
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's been fun because yeah, like we had kind of talked before we started the show, but like the summer arcade, stuff was kind of, like them attempting on 360 to really push, these independent games, but it was kind of, just more of a summer focus. And, we were talking that this idea at Xbox stuff now is kind of gives them the option to be a year round thing and not just a summer focused thing, that they can kind of
cool.
constantly be helping get these indie games out there and people a chance to see the more of a spotlight who
Well,
are
yeah,
working
and
on these smaller games.
we talked about this before recording, and I just wanted to make a mention of
Yeah.
reading an article about how a lot of independent developers, um, when they put out games for like on mass systems like PlayStation 5, Xbox, and Nintendo, like they actually get a lot more support from Nintendo and Xbox as opposed to PlayStation. PlayStation, and this is quote from some developers, PlayStation doesn't give a shit about indies, which is crazy because when the PlayStation 3 was out, they were huge with indie developers and indie games and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden they really reversed course because now they're a AAA manufacturing machine where they
Yeah.
only want AAA games. And Microsoft has so many more, like their user interface is probably the better looking user interface compared to the other two systems. And there's so many more ways to discover new games
Hmm.
and independent games. And obviously this type of showcase where it's like, hey, we're just going to showcase all the independent games we helped develop. You know.
Yeah, and in the meantime, like like we've seen, the Xbox just in general just trying to come up with ways and reasons to really get not only these indie games out there, but get more diversity and more people of different backgrounds and stuff the chance to have the opportunity to get their names out there as well, hosting these shows on on people's Twitter or Twitch accounts and things like that. So like it's really been like a just a great thing in general for on many different levels, this whole idea at Xbox stuff.
Yeah, Eric Friedman actually quoted us. He was an independent developer. He made this game Deja Vu. He said, quote, obviously Microsoft always expects a cut from the sales. But he says, besides their cut for sales, we've never been asked for money. And everyone on the ID at Xbox team have been incredibly nice and responsive. And Microsoft repeatedly invites them to be in sales, making the process simple. So like, obviously when Xbox says, hey, we got this big sale, you want to be a part of it. Like they actually reach out to these developers.
Yeah.
And he even says that there was another publisher that said they invite you to shows. They not only invite you if you're already popular, they try to invite quality games, no matter if you know them already.
Yeah.
And obviously the opportunity to put your game on Game Pass.
Yeah.
So, and what was it? Somebody commented about PlayStation. I have to offer them 30%, or they will exclude me with, getting out of, like, you won't be eligible for sales or any other promotions or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah, that was kind of something. I remember it was kind of a little bit. It didn't make like a lot of the mainstream stuff, but it was a little bit of a talking topic there, where some of these developers were saying that, like, like they don't like they a lot of the times they rely on sales to kind of try to help get a resurgence or get their name out there sometimes. And the way Sony does things, a lot of these people who don't have that kind of money to qualify for some of those higher ranked positions, like they don't get any control over their content and being able to have sales and things like that.
Well, and like we said, Game Pass is such a big proponent. Developers have came on to say, like, when you start to think, like, how can developers make money off these games? Well, obviously, if you're on Game Pass, Microsoft gives you a cut of it, of the subscription sales, but also too, this spurs word of mouth that, if you're on Game Pass for a couple months, and then people are still playing your game, they will buy it afterwards to continue playing it. And even just word of mouth, there's still a lot of contingent of people that don't have Game Pass. So it's like, if I tell people, hey, you guys should play The Ascent. Okay, all right, I'll download it, I'll pay for it. So like, there's so many benefits associated with publishing on Xbox.
Yeah, and I've said it before, like, honestly, like, I love my third party games and and my first party games, but I'll be honest, for the majority of a year, a lot of indie games are usually what end up taking up most of my game playing time throughout an entire year. Like, like I said,
sometimes you get better experiences playing those games.
Yeah,
like made with passion.
Yeah, like I said, Death's Door right now is like my game of the year, and I, like, it's up there contending with Resident Evil Village and like just these massive games that we've gotten so far this year that took way more money to make, but it's just there's those subtleties about indie games that do things you just don't get in those big games. And and so they're definitely important, and it's just I'm glad that Xbox sees that and is trying to do their part to get that out there. So
very much so.
All right, so the final topic. Unfortunately, I believe neither of us got to play the
Yeah.
play the early betas of this, but I mean it's just the beginning. We've got more I believe they have more times coming up here that Halo Infinite betas will be available for more people. But yeah, it's Halo Infinite, there's some piece of it out there now for people to experience. And
You can only play 2 levels, I know for sure. Like it's all multiplayer. I think it's mostly you play mostly against bots.
Yeah, I think later on in the beta time periods, they did roll out some PvP, but it was at time periods where like a lot of people would have been sleeping and stuff, unless they were up to purposely just be up to stay up so they could play this.
Right.
But I mean, overall, like from what I've heard from like the talking and people kind of just talking about it on other podcasts, or just the murmurs online in general, like I have yet to hear anything negative. So it's
No,
definitely
all the videos that I've watched too, like I mean the game runs solidly smooth. Like this game, the multiplayer is very fast paced.
Yeah.
Typical Halo where it's like a lot of jumping, a lot of jumping across platforms and having the hook shot,
Yeah.
is kind of adds a little bit to the verticality of the game, so it makes the game even much more faster.
Yeah.
What bad English.
Yeah. Well, and like actually, yeah, too, if you're interested in like let's say you're listening, you're the majority of people who don't have a Series X yet, or don't have a Series S. If you got a 1X or a 1S, and you're wanting to know, like, is this game gonna be worth getting for what I'm playing on right now? Digital Foundry, I actually watched most of it, but Digital Foundry did a really good video comparing all 4 versions of this game side by side, and honestly, it's phenomenal. Like
Digital Foundry is a good place to really check to see what like they compare systems all the time. Like this is the system to play it on, that's the system to play it on. Obviously they work their asses off on Cyberpunk.
Yeah, but they did a really great video though, showing these games, the gameplay and stuff, and like what features are missing, and which is very, very slim. There's barely any features missing from this game, other than things that are expected. Like obviously you're not gonna have ray tracing on the 1S, because that just never was an option anyways.
Nope. Yeah.
But they downgraded the graphics a little bit, but it still looks pretty good on the series, on the 1S. So like, I mean, you can definitely tell the difference. There is a little bit more muddy of a look to it, but just watching that video, like even the 1X, like I could barely tell the difference between the 1X and the Series X and the Series S, to be honest. Like it was pretty close. Like it was pretty close to how those looked. So yeah, like
no, yeah, I mean, honestly, I think obviously the Series X will be the place to play it because of just frame rate, because you want this game running smoothly. Like watching the gameplay on an Xbox One X and stuff like that, like like 30 frames a second still plays smoothly. But if you want full detail as you're progressing through the levels, like 60 frames a second is where it's going to be, especially if you're the type of gamer that's just like like got ADD and you're just all over the map, pretty much. So.
Yeah, so yeah, like overall, like I've been excited. I'm hoping I'll be able to get a chance to play it here at some point. But
What a bad Xbox podcast we have. We didn't even play this beta. We didn't even sign up for it.
Yeah. Well, I signed up for it. It's just I didn't get anything, and even had I got something, I wouldn't have been able to play it because I was out of state. So
right, yeah. Obviously, I was same
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I was kind of like, okay, well, I'm not going to be as bummed that I didn't get accepted into this first round because I wouldn't have been able to play it anyways. But
right, yeah.
But yeah.
Well, and admittedly for me, I haven't really delved into multiplayer in Halo since Halo 3. I think Halo 3 was one of the last ones where I was like really invested in the multiplayer. And I've since fallen off of multiplayer focused, battles, but just watching Infinite and seeing a lot of kind of like that small scale, heavy combat focus really kind of has me excited to kind of jump into it again a little bit, because this kind of is reminiscent of this is why I really got so into Titanfall. Titanfall reminded me so much of like the old Halo, where like the combat was super frantic, the levels weren't hugely spacious or anything like that. And in the two levels that we saw here, which one of them is like kind of like a warehouse style factory setting, and the other one's like something straight out of like Call of Duty, literally. Just it was like a kind of like an old like Middle Eastern village or something like that, whatever. And like a market, but it's got something for everyone, it sounds like. So like if you've plugged in hours and hours playing Warzone and Call of Duty for the last like 10 years, I think you're gonna get into this as much as like if you played Halo since the beginning.
Everyone, from all accounts, it sounds like as far as the gameplay goes, it feels like those reasons that you love Call of Duty multiplayer, but it did just enough to make it updated to modern style kind of arena, almost shooter. And it sounds like they did a great job. Like the other thing too, I can't get super detailed in talking about because I didn't see all of them yet, but like I did get to see some of these new weapons. And
dude, I gotta give props. That handgun, I love that handgun. Honestly.
I heard the handgun is pretty. If you get a good 2 headshots, that you'll take someone out like pretty quickly if you're really good with those headshots.
I mean, I just really like the design, because like depending on the color scheme that you pick for your character, like those are the color schemes for your guns, which is pretty cool. So you get your little bit of like customization, just alone. But but I just like the fact that obviously Halo does this really well, is that they populate weapons throughout the arena. So it's cool that it's like okay, that guy just equipped a rocket launcher, like screw him, like I can't compete against that. Well, go find your own damn rocket launcher. It's in the level, it's available for everybody.
And I like there's the one gun that's like literally just shoots this big ass metal spike.
It's like it's like this big golden like radioactive spike that just impales your enemy. Like damn.
And then they have it's some kind of like almost like a shotgun, but like a grenade launcher that like you can blast a grenade and bounce it off of a wall and like towards people, or you can shoot it like directly at them like a shotgun, and it's supposedly it does some pretty good damage if you hit them 2 times with that you'll kill someone instantly. So there's some interesting like, and that's that's always the fun part about lately is with Halo, when the new one would come out, was seeing what did they do to kind of update and really make those old guns feel brand new, but also like what kind of fun alien tech are we gonna see in this one? Like it's always
like you saw the staples, like you saw the plasma rifle, you saw the needler in there. I can only imagine what else they're going to come up with. Obviously, they with this being free I wouldn't be surprised if they continually roll out like free updates and
Mhm.
new weapons, new skins, stuff like that, like constantly. Which they said, I think they said most content is going to be free.
Yeah. Like I could see them doing, like Call of Duty did that where they had like, like where it's the gun that you'd start out with, but like
Mhm.
you could get like a special, cool design for that gun or whatever through your battle passes and things like that. But it's not like you're gonna get something that like a gun that you can't get unless you have battle pass or something like that. So
Right, yeah,
yeah,
or you got to be a
we
certain
know they'll
level.
do that.
Like, yeah,
Yeah,
or you don't have to be a certain level. So obviously,
yeah,
you know, um, you get access to the weapons just by jumping in because, obviously you load your loadout. What
hmm,
you want is your base weapons, but like all of a sudden you're running around and you see the freaking hammer, you know,
yep,
like you can grab it and say, all right, let's go. Or you see, the big impaler or whatever they call it, like, all right, let's
yeah,
grab this and let's have some fun with this. So
yeah. Yeah, I'll be honest. I just mainly want to play the beta just so I can go into the um the area where you can just go and test every single weapon
mhm.
that's in the game just to kind of see how it works. Because like I'll be honest, like I do play the Halo 5 multiplayer every once
Yeah.
in a while, and I still honestly don't know what's the best way to use some of those guns because like I play the Fiesta mode, which is literally you just randomly respawn with two random weapons
Mm.
in your loadout, and it's always different every single time you die and respawn. And like sometimes I'll get guns that I'm like, I honestly don't even, what is this? Is this a
Yeah.
shotgun? And it's like I have to shoot it to even find out what it does, because I'm not used to it.
Mhm.
Because I played Halo 5 here and there and multiplayer, but when you play the regular just deathmatch or whatever, you have your basic gun you start out with, and then whatever's on the map, and not all the guns that exist in the game are on the map. So
Right.
playing that Fiesta, I get these guns that I honestly, other than maybe picking them up for 5 minutes in the story mode or whatever, like I don't know what they do. So it's like I do like that they kind of have that shooting range mode where you can kind of test out the guns.
And that's
Uh,
why I can appreciate a game like Halo where it's like it's a little bit more welcoming to,
mhm.
kind of newer players because yeah, it's like, you can actually test these weapons, you can actually use these weapons, you can actually access these weapons without having to be a certain level or to achieve a certain amount of kills or a certain amount of other achievements. Like you get them
Yeah,
right from the start. So
yeah,
it almost like levels the playing field with the exception
hmm,
of obviously like, the more hours you plug into it, the better you're going to be.
yeah,
It's like the 10,000 hour rule. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, like obviously, but you can still like compete against these people because you get access to the sniper rifle or you get access to the needler or whatever,
yep,
the same as everybody else.
yeah. It's all, yeah. That's why I've always loved the Halo and games like Halo that kind of stuck to that core early arena shooting where it's all based on skill,
Yeah.
and it's not like who can buy this or buy that to unlock something that you don't have and have the advantage over
Hmm.
like a Call of Duty or stuff like that. And yeah, that's why I've always liked the Halo multiplayer is it is about skill, like.
That's basically where the phrase "get good, scrub"
Yep.
started.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, and so the only other thing I kind of wanted to slightly touch on, because I just was kind of curious. I was hoping we'd have more people on the show to kind of talk about this and get more thoughts, but maybe I'll put a poll up on Twitter or something, or have Corey put one up on the Arsenal X Twitter, but I was wondering, so there's been some leaks and some data mining that happened, unfortunately, with the Halo Infinite beta, and some information has got out there about like story, all that stuff. I'm not gonna read it. I'm not gonna go into it because I do not want this game ruined whatsoever for me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that, to anyone else. So, but there is one thing, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it's really anything, but there is something got out where the voice actor is saying Battle Royale.
Yeah.
So the thing has been, the talking point has been, does this mean that they're going against what they said, that they would never have a battle royale mode in their game, and they actually will be? um Personally, I could have swore that battle royale was something that voice actor has said in previous Halo games anyways, and
Yeah, because Battle Royale does. I mean, you can't associate the phrase Battle Royale with just 100-player combat a la
yeah,
Fortnite and PUBG. Like,
yeah,
I imagine it's a particular, very specific Halo game mode.
yeah,
That is, I said, I think people may be reading into it too much.
yeah. But that being said, would you be against, are you in the camp of, I wouldn't mind having a battle royale game mode, or I don't want a battle royale game mode? Like, which camp are you in with that?
I don't think they need it,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah,
I think it would go against Halo. It
yeah,
would just go against what the game started at. I didn't think Call of Duty needed it, but apparently it got it, and it's pretty popular. So I mean, I
yeah,
guess I don't speak for the majority of gamers out there. I just don't think Halo being as established as it is, I don't think it needs a battle royale. I think
yeah,
it's unnecessary.
yeah. It's definitely like, there's definitely those things, those iconic things that exist in Halo, that it could easily be, they could easily make a mode to do it. You've got the pods that people drop down in. You've
Hmm.
got the pods dropping down, and with different, ammo and guns in them. You've got, guns on the map. You've got, like, there's a lot of stuff there. There's power ups you can pick up. There's all those kinds of things are there where they could make one.
Hmm.
Yeah, like, I've kind of, I'll be honest, like, this was something that I've been constantly thinking about, since, honestly, the beginning of Halo Infinite. Like, would I want a battle royale mode in this game? I I think for me, like, I'm in a different situation than most people. Like, like I said earlier, a lot of the big battle royale games that people are playing right now, either I just not into them as much as a lot of people are. Like, I do play Fortnite, and I've, unlocked a lot of stuff and spent a lot of money in Fortnite, but, like, I don't love that game as much as I would like to.
Hmm.
But so, like, for me, like, battle royale, I don't really have a battle royale game right now that I really love, or that I'm enjoying playing. So, like, for me, I would like to have one, just because, like, of that hope that they would make, like, one that I fall in love with, and I would have that battle royale game that I could play. But at the same time, if they don't make one, I honestly, I don't think I would care.
Hmm.
But I would like to see them try it, and just see where it goes. But yeah, it's just kind of one of those things
To each their own. To each their
I've
own.
been thinking about for a long time. And with everything going on in this kind of leak of the audio stuff, it just kind of brought it back into the forefront. So yeah, I'm just curious what people think. I feel like the majority of Halo fans are like, keep it out of my Halo. They're kind of the get off my lawn kind of stuff. But
yeah, because like I said, Halo doesn't need a battle royale.
Yeah.
They don't need one. They have enough great multiplayer modes on their own. They don't need to make a large map, because we're talking like a whole nother phase of development where it's like, not only do you have to make one very large map, you have to make multiple very large maps, because obviously you want to make it, varying in, architecture and landscape and stuff. So it's just, could I see that maybe dropping in a couple of years? I suppose I could. But like I said, I'm still in the stance of Halo doesn't need it.
Yeah. Well, and and this is my last thought on it as far as game stuff goes. Like Halo has been from the very beginning, has once they had really started the whole Forge stuff where you could make your own maps and kind of make your own game types and things like that. Like they've always kind of been about letting, if people want to make a type of game, to let you do it on your own. And then if it does become popular, like zombies and stuff like that, some of those iconic games that literally just started out as someone making it, and you just basically having to follow the rules of it, even though those rules aren't hard set into the game because it's just something someone made, and them turning them into actual game modes. Like I think with them having the Forge and having you having the ability, especially with this like the more options and stuff that are kind of coming up with what you can do with vehicles and the stuff, there's going to be a lot of things that you can kind of do and make game modes on your own. So in that case, there's really who's going to waste the time on a battle royale mode when there's
exactly. Halo doesn't need a battle royale mode. Give it the Forge. Let people have fun with that. Get battle royale out of my damn Halo.
All right, and we'll end it with that. So Stoy, where can people find you?
Well, you can I'm part of, not only am I part of the Arsenal X podcast, I'm also part of EXP Cast. We're another video game podcast. We're part of the network as well. You can follow me there on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at EXP Cast, and we put out episodes Mondays and Thursday mornings. And that's pretty much where you can follow me. So I run the social medias. So if you want to reach out to ask me a question or something like that, that's definitely the place to go. So
nice. Yeah, and you can find me almost everywhere as Phantom NXS. And remember, the show is up every Tuesdays. And the audio, this is a little behind the scenes, but the audio version is up at 3 a.m. usually. There's been times where I've had to get maybe a half an hour later or something, but so every Tuesday 3 a.m. the audio version of the show can be found, and 7 a.m. every Tuesday on YouTube. So
another good episode. It's always good to talk about Halo again, bringing it back. So
and I feel like we're gonna have a lot more of that in the near future.
We're a couple months away from having Halo pretty much in our systems again. So
can't wait. So all right, let's throw up the X.
Tiny X.
Tiny X, big X, little X.
All
X. The X's as we are exiting. Bye, everyone.
Exiting. Bye, everyone.
A brawl is surely